Right, it's exciting. Time to launch a podcast.
I know, let's do it.
Hello, I am Sophy Ridge.
And I'm RidgeandFrost. Welcome to the very first episode of Cheat Sheet, the podcast that gets you up to speed with what you need to know.
So we've done all the scrolling, we've done all the reading, so you don't have to, so we can bring you the news that you need to know in 10 minutes. So it is Monday, the 3rd of November. What have we got coming up?
Top story still that police are trying to find out what the motive was for Saturday's mass stabbing on that train from Doncaster to London. We'll discuss exactly what we know and what we still don't know.
I've been speaking to the sole survivor of the Air India plane crash. So he was the only person to survive that awful accident that killed 241 people on board, including his own brother. So it's a miracle, but a tragedy wrapped into one.
Absolutely is, and it's a great interview. And we're also going to be talking about India's victory at the Women's World Cup. Lots to come. Right, Sophie, let's start with the train attack. So a 32-year-old man is being held on suspicion for that mass stabbing. It took place, of course, late on Saturday, Doncaster to London. 11 people were treated, 9 initially in life-threatening injury conditions. One of those was the train's guard, who's now being described as a hero for trying to protect passengers, putting himself in harm's way. He is the only man still in a critical condition. So of those other 11 that were treated, only one is still in a critical condition. It sounds terrifying for those on board. Let's listen to one of them, Amira Ostalski.
Honestly, I'm scared to sit on a train again. I feel like I will always be very scared to sit on a train because it could happen at any time. And when it happens to you personally, you don't want to live through that again. And you want to make sure that no one else does.
I mean, it's just appalling, isn't it? As you say, the train worker still in a life-threatening condition. The other person who many people are pointing to is the driver as well, who his quick thinking meant that he didn't just stop the train in the middle of nowhere. He made a request to make an unplanned stop in Huntingdon, so they were able to kind of quickly as possible, get to some help. So what else do we know? The attack isn't being treated as a terror attack, is it?
It's worth reminding for everyone that what leads to something being classed as a terror attack, and that's if the motives of the individual are clearly aligned to a religious or extremist organisation, then you can call it terrorism. And they're still trying to find out what the motive is, and therefore you don't jump to that particular conclusion. They've said that he's a 32-year-old British-born black man, and there was initially somebody else arrested as well who's been released. But as you say, I think the two standout bits this morning are the horror of what it would have been like to be on board, as we heard from that witness, and the heroism, particularly of that security worker and the quick thinking of the driver. So you might remember the Air India crash back in June. It was a flight from India heading to London Gatwick as it happened, and 241 souls on board died. That was all souls on board bar one survivor. And Sophie, you've done this extraordinary interview with him.
It is that extraordinary image of the one survivor stumbling away, able to walk away from the wreckage. So I sat down with Vishwash Kumar Ramesh. He was sat in seat 11A. Lots of people now booking that seat on planes. It was a miracle, his survival. But I think if you asked him, he wouldn't see it that way. He would see it as a tragedy. Because this is a man who was utterly broken by what happened. He told me that all he does is sit in his room on his own, not watching TV, not listening to the radio, on his own, in silence, thinking about his brother. Because his younger brother was on the flight too, and he lost his life. And frankly, that's destroyed Vishwash Kumar's life as well.
What happened? When did you first realise something was wrong?
It's quite difficult to explain myself.
Do you remember it?
It's very hard.
How's it been for your family?
Oh, it broke down instantly.
I'm so sorry that you didn't ask for this. You were the victim. Do you leave the house? Do you go out? Do you do things?
Just sit on my bed and all day. I just think about like my brother and just,
Your brother who
That's it.
died.
he's my younger brother.
I mean, the emotion of it, Sophie, is what jumps out most of all. Clearly, you felt the emotion he was showing as well, but there's also a point to this, which is that he thinks that Air India are being far too slow and ungenerous in how they're helping him as the sole survivor and the families of those who lost their lives.
His life is broken. His life is utterly broken. He has a 4-year-old he can't talk to. He has a wife who is effectively his carer now. And they feel, understandably, that Air India needs to do more to help this family with mental health needs, with the health needs as well. Now, I should say that Air India have actually come back to us. So in a statement, they've said, we're deeply conscious of our responsibility to provide Mr. Ramesh with support through what must have been an unimaginable period. Care for him and indeed all families affected by the tragedy remains our absolute priority. And then they say senior leaders from across Tata Group continue to visit families to express their deepest condolences. An offer has been made to Mr. Ramesh's representatives to arrange such a meeting. We'll continue to reach out and hope to receive a positive response.
So Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's been in the news unrelentingly over the last couple of days for obvious reasons after he was stripped of his prince title and kicked out of his house by the king. President Trump has now weighed in.
It's a terrible thing that's happened to the family. That's been a tragic situation, and it's too bad. I mean, I feel badly for the family.
I think President Trump there is expressing his sympathy for the king as opposed to necessarily individual members of the family. Of course, he's facing pressure himself to release more of the files. What jumps out to me overall is that Prince William's heading to Brazil for the UN climate conference, known, obviously as COP, and for his own Earthshot Prize. And this is going to be a distraction. He'll want to do press whilst he's there. He'll want to talk to people about his Earthshot Prize. He's going to be asked about this almost solely.
Yeah, it's so difficult, isn't it, for the family just to shake any of this off. And I guess that was the whole point of why they did it in the first place. Talking of climate change, Wilf, you've met the new US ambassador to the UK, Warren Stevens. So I know this guy's a billionaire. He's good mates with Donald Trump. He loves British food, apparently, which I quite like. So we don't get that much praise from that many people, so I'll take it. But he's also got some interesting views on oil and gas, right?
He also, I should mention, loves football, our football, but he's a Spurs fan.
Oh, that's good. I like him then.
I almost cancelled the interview. But no, so we were catching up in Aberdeen, obviously the oil and gas capital of the UK. And by the way, timed as Ed Miliband and Keir Starmer head off to that same climate change conference. So I think when you then hear some of the messages in his interview, it's clearly meant to be a warning. It's clearly meant to be, me and President Trump think the UK should change your energy policy. Here's a clip.
It's going to take all energy for all countries to compete in the 21st century for AI and data centers. And so I don't think Ed Miliband is necessarily wrong, but I think it's an incorrect policy to ignore your fossil fuel reserves, both in the North Sea and onshore.
So he's basically saying Ed Miliband isn't wrong, but he is also wrong. I mean, this guy's supposed to be a diplomat. That wasn't that diplomatic.
I love you putting it. I think that's diplomacy Trumpian style. That was quite clear. Do you know what makes it even more pronounced? If you watch the full interview, which is again on the Ridge and Frost YouTube channel, he kind of said that the Prime Minister was listening to him. He said, I've had multiple meetings with President Trump and the Prime Minister on this. We're lobbying him hard on it. And he said specifically, people in the government are listening, Prime Minister, absolutely. So, if we do see a change in policy, which we might not, it sort of reveals perhaps a little bit of a divide between Starmer and Ed Miliband on that topic. But at the moment, obviously, we haven't seen that change.
Now, for the first time ever, India are Women's Cricket World Cup champions. So they beat South Africa by 52 runs in the final. So it was a massive win for the side. And of course, fans were thrilled. It was also a big turnaround because the team lost 3 consecutive games during the group stages. I always find this quite interesting. I think often you see teams having a loss earlier on, almost kind of shaking them into action and then going on to win. Like we've seen it in World Cups in football as well before. So they come so close and it was a really epic final. But I'm also interested in this because, as someone who watches quite a lot of cricket myself, the Indian influence in the game is so much, and the money as well. And you can just see if women's cricket takes off in India, that could have a huge impact on the game worldwide as well.
I can completely agree. I mean, commiserations, of course, to South Africa, but it's one of
I should have said that, sorry.
Yeah, no, but it's one of those rare times where you're kind of supporting India because of what it can do to the game overhaul. Obviously, I wouldn't have done if England were in the final, but it could be a great catalyst for further development in the game. 35,000 were there in the stadium. It was in India, by the way, and it's set to be, we haven't got the numbers yet, quite comfortably the highest broadcast ratings for a women's cricket match of all time. Congrats to India. Well, that is your cheat sheet for today. Thank you so much for joining us, particularly for this first episode. We do want to hear from you as well. Give us feedback. Let us know what type of stories you want to hear about. Email us. It's cheatsheet@sky.uk.
Yeah, just to pick on what Wilf was saying, we really want to hear from you guys as well. So do let us know. You can also, of course, follow us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts as well. We've done it. First one.
First one, but we have to go and get ready for the show now.
Yeah, we better go.
That's it. See you later.